What are the different models in running a consulting business? Today I had a conversation with someone on LinkedIn that I connected with, and we were kind of comparing notes of like their model, my model, and the pros and cons. And so I thought I'm gonna jump on here and talk about the different models and approaches. And just wanted to start by saying that there's no perfect model. And when I say that, I mean there's a perfect model for you, right? And there's a perfect model for me. And there's no universally perfect situation or perfect model. Some people love it when they are, deep into the woods of weeds, working boots on the ground execution. Um, that's not my thing. I like to be strategic. I like to be um, uh, specifically on the advisory and consulting side of things, right? And so there's anything in between. There's different, hybrids and approaches to how you can structure what you do and how you do it. So what is important is that we understand what it means to choose a certain model, right? And again, I'm not going to be pushing my philosophy, my model as the one and only, because even though I strongly believe this is the one of the most efficient and effective way to scale a consulting business, there might be situations where it just doesn't fit someone else's personality, or approach to life or business, right? And that's exactly it. That's exactly what happened when we were comparing notes with the other person on LinkedIn. Like, she's running a consulting business when she works with 12 clients, and at any given time she has a call with them every 2 weeks, and it's very kind of hands on. I work with 53 clients at the same time, and I work 2 days a week on calls with them. I have 5 groups or 5 cohorts, 10-ish people each. So there's a lot of support and intimacy in that sense. So it's not like a massive, 50, 100, 500 people on the call group. Um, and then I get to work 2 days on delivery, 2 days with those clients, and then asynchronous work through Slack as well. She has 12 clients, works with them every 2 weeks, has calls with them every 2 weeks. So, and each call is 60, 90 minutes. So as you can see, there's completely two different worlds, if you will, and they both come with territory, right? And so really depends on what you want and how do you define, success, and what is your goal and how do you want to live your life. For me, it has always been freedom first, right? I want my business to be defined by freedom. If I'm not free, if I cannot do things on my own terms, if I have to be somewhere um, that's not, based on my will, but let's say I would have to be in the office at 9 a.m. Every single day, regardless whether I like it or not. And I know that's for a lot of people that's the reality. And don't get me wrong, I spent 15 years in the corporate world running and heading departments, and so I know what it means, but like it's not necessarily aligned with how I want to live my life. So let's talk about different ways of how you can run your consulting business. And so there's like six levels of or six different levels of how you can run your business in terms of like how you structure it from a delivery perspective, right? And so I call them levels of productization, but they don't necessarily are all about productized business, because level 0 is just custom work and one-on-one, and there's nothing productized in that bit. But let's, for the sake of simplicity and logic and flow, call it 6 levels of productization. So level 0 is where you do everything custom. Everything is one-on-one. It's a bespoke project, and unfortunately, a lot of consultants, they follow this model. And I say unfortunately because this model should come with a massive price tag, because you're offering a one-on-one custom results for clients. But what actually happens in the market is that a lot of us are undercharging and still delivering something that's one-on-one and custom. And then what this leads to is that you're copying yourself based on how much time you have available to work on the project and with the client, right? So you can only have so many clients in in a week or in a month, because you're just capped when it comes to your availability, right? You start working 40 hours, then 50, then 60, and then at some point you're like, well, I need to rest as well, right? And I need to live as well. I need to go to the gym maybe. I need to commute. I need to do this and that. I have family. So there's the cap, right? So there's a limit to um, what you can do and how you can work. Now, there's if you wanted to scale that type of business, you would have to, or model, you would have to increase the price, right? And so that you make more money, or you would have to have more clients. But again, you're capped when it comes to clients, and you're capped when it comes to price, because you cannot keep raising the price forever, right? So there's that, and then you can always, and so the temptation is, in terms of scaling, the temptation is to hire people to help you, right? So let's say you're working with 5 clients at $3,000 per month. That's $15,000 per month, and then you hire a junior consultant or someone to help you, so that you can use them as leverage, and you can use them as, you know, your support. And then let's say they take on 2 clients, they take care of those 2 clients, and then all of a sudden your capacity increases and you can, you know, get more clients, right? The problem with this is that the the more clients you want to have, the bigger team you have to have, and at some point, very very early actually in that journey, is that you will end up managing your people and not actually delivering consulting. And so if you love what you do, if you're a consultant and if you like to be a consultant, then that is going to take away that bit, right? Then, you know, I ran marketing agencies in the past, and we had teams, and then we had managers of those teams, and then we had a CFO, and then we had, you know, chief operating officer, you know, the person who's doing everything and making sure that everything's running, and then you have managers of the people that manage, you know, the results and all that stuff. So like it just keeps growing and growing. It just becomes this, I call it a massive hungry monster, right? And so all of a sudden you're just like, you're running the business. Obviously that's a good thing if you want to run the business, but if you want to consult, then that model is just not for you, unless you want to be one of the consultants, but then who's running the business, right? So that's a very common model with a lot of problems, right? Because from my analysis and research, and I published a report last year, 2025 report on consulting. We found that most consultants are stuck between $10,000 to $30,000 because they follow this model specifically. And the reason why you're stuck in this kind of range of 10 to 30K is purely mathematical. I mean, if you have, you know, if you charge $5,000 per client, then you can probably have maximum, you know, 5 clients, and that means 25K. And then if you wanted to increase number of clients, then again, your revenue will increase as well, which is fantastic, but then you have to hire someone who will help you. And then part of your time then that you have saved, if you will, through, you know, thanks to hiring someone, then you have to spend on managing that person. And at the same time, your revenue, while the revenue goes up, your profits go down because you just hired someone, right? And so you start kind of chasing your own tail in a sense. So, and then let's say if you charge 10K per client, typically with the higher price comes a bigger scope and deeper, you know, kind of connection with, and the need for deeper execution. And so you probably can only work with like 1 to maybe 3 clients, and that again caps you at $30,000, right? So that's why that $10,000 to $30,000 kind of wrench shows up. So that's level 0, right? It's like custom one-on-one work with clients. Level 1 is where you still do done for you work, but this time it's kind of standardized package. So it's still custom work, but you standardize your packages, as in like, this is the scope, and I provide this package, but then within this package, I mean, I provide custom work for a client, right? So it's very similar to the fully customed option. It's just you kind of put it in a box of a container of like package of 6, you know, sessions or whatever, right? Or package of something else, like however else you quantify your work. So that's level 1. Level 2 is the first level of productized consulting, which is a productized project. So you have a project so you have projects that you deliver in a productized way. So this is already a product that comes with a specific scope, with a specific timeline and time frame for a specific like for the specific cost, and you then find people who are a good fit to for you to implement that project, right? And so you do project after project after project after project, and it's a very kind of standardized copy paste formula, if you will, right? Because it's the same project for a different client. So you have to find different new clients for the new project every time. So that's level 2. Level 3 is a variation of it, which is a productized retainer. A productized retainer basically is working with a client on a monthly basis, where you work on a very specific scope in a productized way. Productized in this case means, or in general, productized approach means that you are delivering a scope and a depth of work and in a consistent way, and also your approach is standardized. You always use the same form, you always use the same worksheet, you always use the same strategy, you always use the same framework, you always use the same methodology, right? So it's basically, again, a copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, obviously with a little bit of adjustment here and there, just that's needed to implement that for a client. But that's what a productization means. And then productized retainer is basically doing exactly that for a client multiple times in a row, so monthly, right? And then in this case, you can also have, in both cases, a productized project, productized retainer. You technically can have multiple clients at the same time. Really depends on what kind of project and what kind of retainer you're working on, right? And then there's so that was level 3. Level 4 is a productized program. This is something that what I'm doing, and at this level, so up until level 4, so custom was 0, level 1 was standardized, custom standardized done for you packages, level 2 productized project, level 3 productized retainer, and then level 4 is the productized program. Up until now, this is all one-on-one, right? So like you can have multiple clients who buy productized project from you, but it's one-on-one with this client. Like it's you work with this client, and then if you have the capacity, you work with another client, right? So that's where kind of that one-on-one happens. With productized program, you can actually have group consulting implemented, right? So that's what I do, and this is what allows me to work with multiple clients at the same time. So what it does is that it's so let's maybe start with what productized program is. A productized program is basically a longer term solution that we deliver for clients that are predefined in terms of the scope, predefined in terms of the time frame, predefined in terms of a very specific outcomes deliverables, right? And the word program basically means that it's, at this point, you have a predefined curriculum of what will happen each step of the way, right? And this is where we change the weight, we move the weight from you are delivering as the consultant to the client is being guided by you and they implement what they're learning from you, right? And this is where you can actually implement the group consulting, because you basically guide multiple people at the same time. And because you don't deliver, they deliver themselves, you can actually guide multiple people, right? So if it doesn't really matter if I have five people on the call or 50 on the call, I will say the same words to the same microphone, to the same screen. And so it really, like, it's almost ultimately unlimited. It almost offers unlimited scaling, if you will, right? Because again, it doesn't really matter how many people are listening on the other side. So you can still deliver this as a one-on-one, right? That's completely fine. And you can do what I do in a work on a group set in a group setting. Now, a lot of you guys listening to this will say, well, I can't really deliver my stuff in a group setting because of the nature of the work that I do, because of my industry, because of confidentiality, because of multiple other arguments or reasons. That's true only if you look at it from a perspective of how you deliver things right now and who you work with right now. There's a constraint in thinking if you think, well, I cannot just do the same thing and run a group consulting program. A lot of us can, and a lot of us can't just copy and paste or just add another person to the call. But what it means also is that because it's a different delivery model, you can decide that this is the model that you want to have, and then you would have to decide like what it means for me to deliver in this fashion. Can I still work with the same type of a client? Do I need to go up or downstream, or up or down on the kind of sophistication level? Like, would I still fix the same problem my clients have? Would I still charge the same amount of money? Like, you would have to redefine what you do, what you deliver, because you're redefining how you deliver it, and you would redefine maybe also who you deliver that to, right? And so that comes with that thinking, that comes with that transitioning. So that's the kind of downside, if you will, because you really have to transition from one-on-one to a group, and that comes with those decisions. But at the same time, it comes with massive upside of it, right? Where you can work with 53 clients at the same time, for example. And then the massive benefit of that is that you spread your risk of losing a client, right? If I I had 57 clients, now I have 53. I lost. Well, we finished working with 4 clients because they graduated the program. So if I had 6 clients and I lost 4, then I would be panicking. But if I had 57 and now I have 53, and they're not paying me $100 per month, right? They're paying me thousands of dollars per month. Then it's not an issue. That's number one. Number two, that's very predictable, and I can forecast what will happen and when, because I can see I have long-term contracts. I can see exactly when someone is graduating. I can see whether they will purchase the maintenance package with me or not. Like, there's conversation happening all the time. I understand their business, so I can see exactly where this is going, right? And so the impact of finishing working with 4 clients when you have 57 versus 6 is obviously way is lower, right? And so what I'm trying to say here is that every model comes with pros and cons, and you have to choose the model that really works for you. And you have to understand that with that new delivery model, you might need to decide, or you might need to make some decisions around who you work with, how you work with them, what is it that you deliver, right? And so what I would how I would challenge you is to see, okay, well, can I move my work from one-on-one to a group consulting, for example, to a productized model? Is that doable? If like one-on-one, if not, what would have to change in order for me to be able to do that, right? And then the next question would be like, am I willing to do that? Understanding the upside is I'm moving from 6 clients paying me $3,000 to 50 clients paying me $3,000 or $5,000, whatever, right? So I'm moving from lower revenue bracket per month to higher revenue bracket per month, but it will cost me, if you will, quote unquote, it will cost me that transition, will cost me redefining who I work with, how I work with them, what's the deliverable, right? So that's very important, because I think too often we just either are being sold a model that someone is pushing on you that might not be good for you, or we just are close to the idea of, oh, maybe there is a different way I could deliver what I'm doing, and that's going to be more scalable, right? By the way, that was level 5. Level 6 is or level 4. Level 5 is licensing, where you don't deliver anything, you just license your methodology out. right? So levels from level 0 to level 5, we have altogether level 6, 6 levels, but level 5 is the licensing level, where you really don't deliver anything. You teach other people how to run their business, and you license your methodologies, you license your model, right? I'm not doing that. Um, I'm not sure I'm gonna do it because I really like working with clients and being kind of in a way boots on the ground and listening to the questions and stuff like that. So I don't think I'm gonna go towards licensing, but that's a completely viable model. So to summarize, level 0 is complete custom one-on-one work, right? Complete level 1 is the standardized custom done for you packages. Level 2 is productized project. Level 3 is productized retainer. Level 4, my favorite, is a productized program. This is where you can already start working in group settings. Technically, you can work in group if you did a project, but it's a little bit more complicated to pull this off. And then level 6 is licensing, right? So those are the different levels of productization and standardization, and they all come with pros and cons in terms of how we deliver and is it scalable or not. The question is which one is best for you. For me and a lot of my clients, I have chosen for me the group consulting approach when it comes, and then in a program delivery model. So I find this to be a really good middle ground, if you will, that allows me to still be in touch with clients, understand their questions and challenges, and be excited about the questions that I'm getting. At the same time, I don't have to trade my time for money, and the model is highly scalable. So you have to choose the one that works for you and your business and your industry. And if you decide to go towards a different model that you are on right now, just understanding it's a matter of transition and repackaging some things and readjusting and maybe implementation of processes and approaches you have never implemented before. But that's fine. That's the cost of transition, right? So yeah. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'll speak to you soon.